Hello everybody, my name is Katie Creed. I am with CT and Associates through Cetera Investors. I hope you all are doing well today. We're going to do another topic Tuesday, and today is going to be on credit score. But just before I jump into that, I do want to let some people know that maybe this is their first topic Tuesday that they're listening to. CT and Associates has been a dream of mine and my business partner Abbey Toye for quite a while, where our main mission and our main goal is to empower and advocate and educate women and LGBTQ plus communities on really how to create personal financial success. So that's what these videos are really geared towards. We want to educate people and let them know what kinds of tools and resources are out there for them, but we want them to know that they have people on their side. So if you do have any questions that are really zoned in on you and your particular situation, please feel free to jump on over to our website to see how to schedule a one-on-one consultation with either myself or with Abbey. So now jumping into our topic Tuesday, credit scores. I've talked to a lot of different people, and this tends to be a big conversation within the finance industry and just with people in general, because it affects us in so many different ways. It affects us with credit cards, with getting a car, getting a home, and now it's even going into spaces like, are you going to be accepted as a renter for a place? Is it going to be a part of maybe different ways, but a different part of how you get applied for insurance and all different kinds of insurances these days? So your credit score is kind of molding into a lot of other facets and areas of your life that you might not even fully know. So when your credit score, the one that's commonly used today, it was essentially put together through the Fair Isaac Corporation, and they put together this FICO method. And the FICO method was when we had the three most major credit bureaus come together, so Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So they all came together in a meeting with Fair Isaac Corp, and they put together the biggest pieces, like a general guideline as to how to have those credit scores be put together. Because each bureau can have differences within the model, but just to have a bit of a guideline so that there is some consistency is what was decided in the 1980s. So when we're looking at what your credit score is it is a number that is basically evaluating how you are. So the numbers range between 300 and 850, and those numbers tell lenders, tell people that are giving out credit how consistent you are, what they would rate you as. So the higher your score, the better. And how that can affect you is what kind of interest you're given, or just even approval processes you might be given throughout the different ways that we utilize credit these days. So how that score is put together, how that number is put together, kind of think of it like a school grade, right? When you're in school and you're looking at the syllabus and you're saying, okay, how is this teacher going to give me my grade? How are they evaluating me? And there's usually different percentages on tests, on homework, whatever it may be. That's kind of what your credit score does, is they have different percentages on different areas. So some are worth more and some are worth less. So being somebody who is looking to boost their credit score, it can be pretty nice to know where the percentages lie, at least a general guideline, because the numbers I'm about to give you aren't exacts, because it is a little bit top secret. But what the general idea is to just kind of show you guys where more emphasis is and where less emphasis is, so you can focus your efforts wisely. So the first area is the biggest chunk, so it's about 35% of your credit score is based off your payment history. So when they're looking at your payment history, it makes sense why this is so big, because if I'm somebody lending out this money or this credit, I want to know, are you going to pay me back? And if you are, when are you going to do it? How on time is this? So it makes a lot of sense that that's the biggest portion. Also looking at things like, did it need to go to collections? What is your history with bankruptcy, right? All of those things come into play within that biggest portion of it. Then the next portion is going to be about 30%, and that's really looking at outstanding debt, meaning how much of our credit are we using, right? So think of a credit card. Most people have credit cards. If my possible credit limit is about $15,000, let's just say, and I have $14,000 on that card, I'm using a lot of my credit. That doesn't look great to institutions. It's not going to do good things for your score. If you're really trying to maximize or boost up your score, having a small balance is going to be very beneficial for you. So the rule of thumb is to try to keep it under 25%. But if you're really trying to find that sweet spot, trying to have like 5 to 15% on that credit card, that will help raise up your score quite significantly, because it shows them, you know what, yeah, I have all this credit, but I don't need to use it. I'm good at paying my bills on time. That's what they're getting out of that information. And then the next tidbit that they're looking at is the length of how long you have had credit for. So that's about 15% that they're looking at. So when you have a credit history, it starts to build immediately. One of the things that sometimes people can do is sometimes pay off a credit card or pay off a debt and then cancel that line, right? So when you cancel it, it's erasing all that history. So it's not always a good thing for people to do. The longer we have, the more lengthy time, it means they have more data. And I'm sorry if you hear my dog, but it means they have more data. And when they have more data, they can have a better, accurate read on you. Come here, baby girl. Come here. Come here. And so when they have more data on you, they can get a better, accurate read as to what kind of individual you might be on paying these things back to them. So they really like to know that. Then when we look at the next portion, it's about 10%, and this is looking at new credit. So they don't love new credit when you get it right off the bat. Think of it also like, well, why do you need that new credit? We're taking on more risk, right? So if you're somebody who needs to take something out, that's okay, but just be mindful of maybe we don't take out a new credit card right before we need to make a big purchase and get a big loan, like a home, for example. The other things that come into that new credit percentage is also hard inquiries and soft inquiries. And what that means is, when you are trying to get a big purchase, like buying a home or buying a car, you need to approve lenders to pull your credit score and your credit history. And so when they do that, that's considered a hard pull, a hard inquiry. And so when they do it, it has a negative effect on your credit score. So if you do need to do those things, because everybody needs to do that, but when you do it and you want to kind of shop around to find the best interest rate that you can possibly get, you just want to be mindful of trying to do a lot in a short amount of time. If you do a lot in a short amount of time, they only consider it one pull, so one hard inquiry. Versus if you try to spread it out over a long period of time, each one of those pulls are going to be another ding. Whereas a soft inquiry is when you look at what your credit score is. So I know different banking institutions, you can get logged into the different most common bureaus through Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and you can see what your credit score is, and they don't have to be hard inquiries. So when you're doing it, it typically isn't going to be a big ding for you. But just be mindful. The last 10% is really going to be on the types of credit that you have. So just think, they want to see a diversified portfolio. They want to know what you got going on. And the more different types that you can manage, the better you look to them. It shows, you know what, you can handle all these different scenarios just fine. You have a lot of responsibility and you take that seriously. So when you have different kinds, that can be very beneficial. But once again, don't start creating different kinds right before you need to do a really big one, because those little new ones aren't going to have a good effect on your credit score. Then when people typically ask me, okay, so Katie, like, what are some of your best top tips, right? Well, I've said some of them through the video and I can repeat, but one of the other big ones is take a look at what your credit report is saying. there are often times where there are incorrect aspects to your credit report, and then you need to fix those because you don't want to get dinged on something that you didn't even do. So review what your credit report is, be mindful of when you're doing it, and if you need to make any changes, you can do that. Then when we're also looking at what your old credit cards are, what your old credit has been, like, don't cancel that stuff because it's going to erase all that history that you had previously done. And having bad credit is better than having no credit. Now that doesn't mean that you have to keep opening up new things, but it just means you may not need to cancel it at the end of the day. Then also trying to reduce your balances, as I said earlier, as much as you can so that you don't have a ton sitting on your credit. That is good too for you and your credit score. Also, of course, paying on time, paying your bills on time. Also, just a little tidbit, look into what your medical bills might be. Maybe contacting different medical institutions that you have been to in the past. Sometimes their methods of getting the bills to you isn't quite in line with what people are used to, so that can have a big effect on your credit score too. But also, don't just be opening up new things willy-nilly right before you want to get something big and like purchase a home or purchase a car, because that might not have a positive effect on your overall situation. So I hope that helped on credit scores. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to us via our website and we can schedule a time. All of our contact information is on our website, so you can take a look over there at CT and Associates. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on our next Topic Tuesday. Bye, guys.